To a KCL NapkinSketch webinar. I'm Kevin Coachman. We're going to give you a little tour of our current NapkinSketch software. A little history about KCL. Ron Coachman, my dad, and I started this company back in 1985. We're now 38 years, or almost 38 years strong. We work with over 250 manufacturers from around the world, and we're going to show you how you can create simple designs using KCL with or without CAD or Revit. KCL itself is used by designers, architects, and reps. You can use our program with AutoCAD, with Revit as a standalone application, and one of the tools we're going to show today is KCL NapkinSketch. So let's get to a live demo. We're going to show you where to get the software first. Go out to our website, kclcad.com. Hit Access KCL at the top of the page, and you can start a free 14-day trial version. You're going to want to use the KCL BIM CAD Designer software, which has all the functionality. It does require a Windows computer or application, whether it's a notebook or desktop. Once you have the KCL software installed and you're logged in, it's going to look something like this. We have a NapkinSketch button at the top, and when I click on that, it gives me a blank screen. At this point, I have some options. I can create my own room, I can load a room from someone else, or I can add equipment. So I'm going to just show a couple examples. I'm going to take a sample AutoCAD drawing that I have, and I'm going to drag and drop it in. You'll get a warning message, because we do have people who try to bring in large AutoCAD drawings. They may not work. You'll see when I hit continue, I've got just a simple space. So as long as someone can break it down, it can be larger than this, but this is just one blob, one entity that I can move and delete, but I cannot modify. Excuse me. If I want to create my own room, up here next to the NapkinSketch button, I have a room builder button. This will let me create my wall, height and thickness, walls, doors, and windows. I have a direction and a width. So I'm going to go ahead and do north or up, 120 inches, hit the plus. I'm going to turn the corner, and we have both north, northeast, east, etc., and arrows to show you the direction. So we'll change our direction. Let's make this a 20-foot wall. Then we can put a door. I can change the size here. And even after I enter it, I can click on the door, and there's options for the right, left swing, double hinge, in swing, or out swing. So you do have more options. I'm going to go back and put one more flat panel just to show you we can use any kind of numbers here. I put in 78 inches or 6'6". It tells me my total dimensions going north are 10 feet, east 29 feet 6, 29 foot 6. When I'm ready, I'll hit generate. And now I have some working space. Room Builder is independent of NapkinSketch. I can send to AutoCAD, Revit, but we're talking about NapkinSketch today, so I'll click the N on the right side. And now you can see I have my space for the space I loaded in earlier. The other difference between the two, give you a quick little look, there's a 3D viewer on the right side. You can see the room I brought in was flat, but the room I created is in 3D. That's what our Room Builder command is capable of, and we'll look at that in a minute. I'm going to take this space and just get rid of it for now. I can click the X for delete, or I can use the delete key on my keyboard. So once I have the space I need, I want to go back to KCL to pick some items. So I'll go back to KCL. If I know the model number I'm looking for, I can type it straight in, and I put delta, I want delta 5E. On the right side of KCL, I can see plan view, front view, 3D inside. The black previews are for AutoCAD, the white previews Revit. I'm going to hit N for napkin, and just to kind of show what it looks like, I click and just drag it into place. Okay. I can also do the same with the 3D. Hit N for napkin and drag that into place. Now, the more you zoom in, the closer you can get to your walls. I can see there's a clearance on here. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. And that's what the sketch is for. We also give you item balloons. You can change the shape. You can change whether you want to automatically number or you can leave them blank, because I can always change the number myself. If I want to make this 15, I right click and change the number. So we've got our first item in here. We can see in a minute the 2D and 3D by clicking the 3D viewer. We'll zoom in a little bit and show you the difference between the two. So we're going to go back to KCL, and we want to look for other equipment. If we don't know the model number, then we can go ahead and type in manufacturer name. Again, I can see the plan view, front view, side view. Not all manufacturers have that, but if they do, I'm in good shape. I'm going to hit N for NapkinSketch and move my item against this wall. So now I've gone back to KCL, put a few items in the drawing. I want to check how much space I have left, and I'm going to use the distance or measure tool, just roughly to see I've got well over 10 feet here, which is great. And now I want to go create a table that I can put into my space. Now I can go back and look at Advanced Tabco, Eagle, or other manufacturers, but I'm going to go ahead and try another new command here called Custom Block. That's up again by Room Builder, NapkinSketch. Custom blocks will let me create manufacturer-specific programs or generic applications. So I'm going to type in the word table. I'm going to go for work table. And now I can see different style tables by using the right and left arrow. When I'm ready, I can put in my size. If I've got a custom size table that's 88 by 36, we'll put it on feet. We'll put a splash on all three sides. When I'm ready here, I can generate. So the idea is if we don't have the standard item that you're looking for, you can try to look through our custom blocks to build what you need. When ready, hit N for napkin. Table came in a little bit lower, and we'll place that in here. So I'm just zooming in and out. I now have the table. I want to put something on the table. So a third way to search in KCL is to go right to category. And if I say slicer food, close enough, I can see which manufacturers are available to me. I'll select globe, and I'm going to select the S13A, hit N for napkin. Now I can take that item and place it right on the table. I can move it left and right, wherever I'd like it to go. And now I've put in my different pieces of equipment. So we've got some static manufacturer ready to go symbols. We have the custom blocks. Once you put those together, you now have a simple layout. You can add more items as you go, We just want to give you a taste of a few ways to find things in KCL. So I'm going to move this a little bit closer to the table. And now I'm going to use the dimension command on the right side just to show how much space I like to allow between these two pieces. And I can move that dimension up or down or where I want it to go. Everything we're doing is real size. Now, if you're working on this and you decide it's getting a little bit messy with all these layers in here, let's move that over a little bit. On the left side, I can turn on and off my layers. I'm going to try the 3D toggle first, and you see that quickly turns on and off all the 3D detail. Then I can go through a little bit further and turn off some of my clearance lines if I'd like to. And I'm going to turn off my electric and plumbing. So you can create a cleaner looking floor plan. If I want to add text, I hit the T for text on the right side, and I can call this my prep area. You can add as many labels, you can change the color and the height of the text. What we found is required for most users is the ability to put the right equipment that's dimensionally correct, add some text and dimensions in order to get something that you might want to submit to your customer. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the control bar on your right side and send us any questions or messages. So now that I have these items in here, I'm going to say, let's go look at this in 3D. We've got a few more pieces. First thing I notice is the globe item was sitting under or on the ground, and I'm going to move it up to the table by changing my height to 36 inches. A simple right click will do that. I can also turn off the 2D layers. So this gives me a slightly better view. And I can change my angles here, southwest, southeast. You can go up or down on your angle that you're zooming in. And any of these views, you can save as a JPEG or a PDF. They make a very nice presentation drawing for a client. Now, in this case, if I want to add a schedule in here, one of my options is to export from KCL. I'm going to choose a group. This is all part of the KCL application. I'm going to take these 4 items because I used one of them twice. I'm only going to select the 4. And we have a generate schedule tool. All items are selected items. What type of schedule? We include several templates. You can make all of your own. We're just going to do a simple equipment list. Where do I want to output? AutoCAD. The assumption for this demo is I don't have it. Excel, I can do that, and we'll do it next, or NapkinSketch. And so now I have a sketch with a schedule. If I want to export this as a PDF, that's one of my options. Save it. We're going to call it Napkin 1. And now this is going to make a PDF that I can send to anyone. I'm going to move the PDF over to the screen so we can see it. And it's what we left as layers on the screen, the schedule that we put in. Now I can also take this file and export to Napkin. That is the format you want to use, Napkin 1 test, if you want to keep working on this later. Once I export to PDF, I cannot bring it back. Once I export as a DWG file, I'll call this Napkin 1 DWG, I can send that to someone who has AutoCAD. But if I try to bring that back in like that wall I did in the beginning, it's just one entity. I can't modify it. Now, if I open up the AutoCAD file that I made, it's exactly what we left off with here. And if we choose to view this in 3D, it doesn't look very 3D-ish. but we're going to turn on all the layers. So it did retain the 3D that we had from NapkinSketch. Everything is where it was location-wise, and I now have a drawing that my design team or architect or customer can use in AutoCAD. So it's important to note that NapkinSketch right now is the only format that you can open and edit this file. AutoCAD, once it's DWG, can be used there. We also have something that's pretty new, that we can take these items that we did before, and if I'm a Revit user, I have my Revit project open, I can say send to Revit. Now it says I can only do 3 items because it doesn't know anything about the custom table. And this new tool will load the items in order and locate them as close as it can to where we had them in NapkinSketch. So if your office is AutoCAD, we've got the save as DWG. If your office is a Revit type using company or design firm, you can go napkin to the group and we'll load in all the potential families that we can. So I didn't select where these go. They're going to be close location to what we had. And whether it was an AutoCAD or a Revit in NapkinSketch, we will always try to give you the native Revit file if we have one. I'm just going to look at these 3 items here, and you can see those items were loaded in. So this is all about saving time with the customer. If you can do a design in front of the customer, you've saved your design team the time of creating it for you. When you're ready, you send them the file that they can modify. If you're a company that has multiple layers, salespeople, designers, again, we want you to all work together, but this is much easier than a picture that you might have taken on a piece of paper. So the ideas are create the schematic, turn on and off the layers you'd like, run a schedule if you want to show a schedule, and then you're outputting to the applications you want to. Once we're in this group screen, generate schedule, create spec book, and export to AQ or a Word document are all available to you. So you can go from NapkinSketch and KCL to many other applications. We're going to just take a quick look at running another schedule. This schedule, we're going to do plumbing and electrical, and we'll send it to Excel. The more items you have, obviously it takes a little bit longer. We don't recommend putting in more than a couple dozen items in a sketch. If you need to, break it out into multiple sketches. So here's our Excel file, and the items that have utility data already in them, you can see the electrical and you can see the plumbing. Again, you don't need AutoCAD or Revit to do this. If I want to create a spec book, take those 4 items. We can put in cover pages. We have headers and footers. Each item can have a cover sheet, even boilerplates. I'm just going to run a preview for us. There's a lot of options in spec book, and we have a YouTube video just for that. You can see here all the items that have spec sheets, cover pages, utility data if we request it, then the actual spec sheet. And then here's a custom work table that has no data other than the item number description. There's no spec sheet. Again, at the very beginning, you can even choose to not include pages that without a spec sheet. I can also export here to AQ. If you have auto quotes, you can go either direction. If I want to export this to a Word document, This will create a Word document with my item number, quantity, basic description. And now I can modify this any way I want to because it is just a Word document. So all this is coming from your NapkinSketch file. And you have full access to all the KCL tools. If you're a current KCL subscriber, keep in mind it's a site license for limited users. So if you have someone that you think can use NapkinSketch and you're already a subscriber, it's not going to cost you any additional money to use this feature. We just have to create a login for the user. I'm going to show you just something, a little kind of tease of what's coming in the new version in NapkinSketch. I'm not going to do it fully here, but let's go find this here. We are going to give you the ability to copy items, so you don't have to keep going back to KCL. You'll be able to move multiple items at one time, which is a little bit better than we have now. And one of the biggest improvements coming is going to be the output to 3D. This is actually output from NapkinSketch 2 coming soon, but I can zoom in, I can zoom around, I can control this. You may or may not have noticed, but the walls have a texture or image on them. Same for the floors. So that's coming in this next version where you can zoom around. It's going to be very quick 3D. Look through windows if you have windows in your design as well. That's our tour of NapkinSketch. We do have time for questions, and as I'm going to look and see if we have any questions, I'm just going to click the YouTube button at the top of KCL and show you that we do have a video library if you're looking for specific questions. We haven't updated in quite a while, so this will be a new one up there, but private cloud where you can add your own items, how to flatten items, elevations. So there is a library of videos to help you out. And that is your tour of KCL NapkinSketch. Thank you for joining us today.